I distinctly remember he had the win on board for a few turns and actually kept missing it, but he was so far ahead that he won anyway.
Well, let's hope the same situation comes up for him again. I feel like Stephane won't give him as much time this go round.
He's come a long way now here in the Masters division, trying to hold it down for his home region, the only Australian player left in this tournament. Again, this is the first time a player from the Oceania region has made it to the top 8 of their own international championship, and let's see if Kaiwen can hold it down for Australia.
Looks like we have an Absol mirror match right now. Both players starting with their one-of tech card, and Stephane does have a Tapu Lele GX start, able to use one to tag, and he's going to start scouting through his own deck to see what cards are prized. He's got some big ones in here. All of the Lycanroc GX pieces, as well as the Lucario GX pieces, will be heavily featured in this matchup, I imagine.
Yeah, and Kaiwen was looking through his hand, and you saw him kind of angrily look at his hand because he has both Eevee and Jolteon GX in his opening hand. Of course, you'd love to have Eevee with the Energy Evolution ability, where you can attach energy, search your deck for the card that evolves from Eevee, and evolve it immediately. But when Jolteon GX is in your hand, that does not work.
He had one job. Jolteon is loved when it's in the deck. And unfortunately, it's shown up a little bit too early for him. So choosing to lead with the Absol instead here. And there's not much else going on in his hand, where Stephane's able to use this Tapu Lele to get his ideal supporter of choice. Not sure how many cards he has insta-playables. Looks like he's eyeing up the Cynthia rather than a Lily here, which tells you that he doesn't have many that he wants to play down on turn 1.
Yep, just go straight for the Cynthia. So not the best start for Stephane. He's going to hope to find at least one Zorua and get that down so we can start getting those Zoroark GX up and running, use that trade ability, and then once you get that going, anything is possible. I was able to watch Kaiwen's final Swiss round against Sam Chen, who is representing Taiwan this weekend. They had a very, very close match in the final Swiss round where Kaiwen was barely able to edge out Sam and earn his spot in the top 8, so I'm sure he's been living on an adrenaline rush ever since then. He was able to win playing Cynthia, getting a final choice band to get a knockout and finish off that last win.
We do see one Rockruff and an Ultra Ball in the hand. He could be grabbing one Zorua here, leaving him with just a Zoroark and a second Tapu Lele in his hand remaining for turn 2. But it's not, the ideal. It's not a bunch of nest balls. It's not a bunch of Pokemon communications. Just a little slow off the mark here in this first turn.
A little bit, yeah. Not the best start in the world, but fortunately he has a bit of a buffer because he did go first. So you usually don't expect a ton of pressure on the first turn. Kaiwen certainly does have access to that Zapdos in his deck, so we could see a turn 1 attack, but this is not a fully committed Zapdos Jirachi deck, so it doesn't happen with the same consistency as as we've seen with Isaiah's deck, for example.
Especially when you see Kaiwen's opening hand, it doesn't look the most likely of turn 1s, and Escape Rope isn't great either. Both players are choosing to go for the Viridian Forest as one of their stadiums of choice. Both of them also having a Prism Star Stadium, so it'd be interesting to see how that sort of goes back and forth. We're going to see Kaiwen go for...
So yeah, we see the the Eevee coming down, but as we said, Jolteon GX is in his hand. He does have Escape Rope. Could play that and try to send out the Eevee and go for that big quick draw attack.
It honestly may not be the worst situation when he's, or not the worst idea when his hand is like this.
Yep.
We're going to see him go ahead and pitch a skateboard, go ahead and have his first deck search of the game, and grab himself a Lightning Energy, no doubt, as we're going to see both players, once again, in this situation where they're both not quite optimal. You've got to feel that Stephane's got to feel a lot happier with his opening turn, even though it wasn't great, just because of Kaiwen's is going to be very much worse.
Yeah, and you really never see Eevee's attack being used, because if you're going to attach an energy to it, that means you're using Energy Evolution and you're evolving into something. But it does have Quick Draw, which is flip a coin, if heads, draw a card.
Well, sometimes you just have to, and he's in this situation where he probably does just have to.
Yeah, I think so.
He could just bring up the Rockruff and go for a quick draw.
Yeah, if I were him, I think I would play Escape Rope here. I think he drew
Yes.
Escape Rope.
Yeah.
And then go for the quick draw. I mean, Stephane would probably bring out like Tapu Lele GX there,
Yes.
and it would be unlikely for him to actually knock out the Eevee, but Kaiwen's just going to play it safe, attach, and pass the turn, knowing he has that Jolteon GX in hand.
Zoroark #1 hits the field as Kaiwen does pass it over. And we see a Lily as well, which seemed to be the top deck for turn, which is not too shabby. We see double Colorless Energy in his hand, as well as the trade available to him. Choice Band can be the first card dumped from Stephane. Riolu hitting the field is always a little bit scary to see for Kaiwen. Having 2 fighting Pokemon on the board is always a scary thing, because it now gives Stephane options. Even if a Guzma play is going to be gone for, there's always going to be 1 threat on the board at once.
Yeah, when I talked to Stephane yesterday, he said he loves to be in this situation where you put down a Rockruff and a Riolu. You attach an energy to the Rockruff, and you put your opponent in pretty much a no-win situation. If they knock out the Rockruff, then you just evolve your Riolu into Lucario GX, attach a fighting energy, and you use Aura Strike to knock out one of their fighting weak Pokemon. If they knock out the Riolu, you evolve into Lycanroc GX, attach an energy, and you can either Claw Slash or Dangerous Rogue GX for a knockout. So really puts your opponent in a tough spot and makes it so they don't have any great options.
Let's see, Viridian Forest, 1 lightning out, 1 lightning into the discard pile. This means that Kaiwen, alongside his escape rope, could be starting to put some pressure on with his Jolteon GX. Does have to be very concerned that Stephane did put a double Colorless Energy onto his Rockruff last turn, and even a Riolu without energy cards is always threatening. So he may be forced into an early Swift Run GX attack.
Oh boy.
Just because that's all he's got going for him right now. Going to see the escape rope being debated by Stephane.
And what does Stephane send out here? Could just send out Tapu Lele. I mean, it's a bit risky. You know, Kaiwen only has 2 cards, but if his 2 cards were like Electro Power, Choice Band, he would just Swift Run GX for a knockout. But
yes,
it's like he's still going to use that GX attack, but only for 140 damage, setting up for an Electro Bullet to finish it off in the future. But Stephane does play Acerola, so this could backfire.
It could, yeah, really could backfire, because also the Electro Power could have been held for the following turn for the Electro Bullet anyway, or it could just be held for an Ultra Ball or something like that, and now his hand size is very low and won't be able to function off those, so he's limited his outs a little bit here in order to try and get some damage on the field. And with only 1 Zoroark in play currently, it's not super unlikely that Stephane will miss the Acerola, but we do know he is holding on to a Tapu Lele GX, so if he wants to Acerola, he can do this turn. But if he uses Acerola, he'd probably also have to use a Lycanroc GX to get around the Swift Run GX attack. The alternative is always Guzmaring the Absol as well.
Right. We did see Stephane traded away his Judge, and Kaiwen is like, "Are you sure you wouldn't like to play that Judge?"
He picked up his hand preemptively. You played that right.
Yeah.
The nest ball from Stephane, finding himself another Zorua here.
Yeah. Does he have the Guzma in hand to take the first knockout here, go after the Absol?
Looks like it. It looks like it's in there. He's going to be trading away his Palpad as well. Oh, he's not trading it away. He's using Viridian Forest, right?
That throws me off so much.
Yeah.
It just seems like you're randomly discarding cards and searching your deck.
Sure. That's going to grab him.
Like, yeah, I'll play Palpad,
fighting.
search my deck for an energy.
If he had access to a Lycanroc GX as well this turn,
he
could do the Guzma plus Lycanroc, but just a Guzma Riotous Beating.
Yeah, that doesn't seem particularly worth it, because then it's a 2-hit knockout on the Jolteon, where at some point you feel like you're going to get either Lucario or the Lycanroc to knock out Jolteon in 1 hit. But Kaiwen does get the knockout on Tapu Lele GX, so he's taken 2 prize cards now. He's taken the lead, technically, but it certainly does feel like he is far behind in this game.
Stephane now does have the Pokemon Communication in his hand and that Fighting Energy thanks to the Viridian Forest, so he can easily Claw Slash through this Jolteon GX and take all of Kaiwen's energy off his board and take 2 more prize cards this turn. We're going to see him kick things off with a trade of one of his Pokemon Communications. He has 2 in there, so there's plenty of options for him still.
Yeah, you know things are bad when you got to bench a Wobbuffet just to make sure you don't lose the game. Wobbuffet really, well, it actually could be pretty useful in this matchup because it can stop the Ditto Prism Star on Stephane's side. That effectively locks him out of Alolan Muck, which can be effective against these style of decks because they rely on Jirachi so much.
And there's no Alolan Grimer in Stephane's list. It's literally just the Ditto. So the Wobbuffet coming down means that there will be no Alolan Muck until the Wobbuffet is dealt with or even brought into the active position, for example. But we are going to see a second Zoroark hit the field. Looks like there's already a Lucario and a Fighting Energy in Stephane's hands. So it's how he wants to take these prizes is really his question. Not that if he's going to get one, it's how he wants to get it.
Yeah, it's a bit painful to have to discard the double colorless energy to retreat to get this knockout, but I mean, if you're going to attack with the Lycanroc GX and get the knockout anyway, it doesn't seem so bad. It doesn't seem like Kaiwen has anything remotely set up to even deal with a Lycanroc GX at this point.
I think he'd take this, all things considered, as he does commit a third energy to his Rockruff. Evolves up, obviously not going to use that Bloodthirsty Eyes ability.
Right.
And he can also simply retreat. I believe he still has his supporter available. He could just be Mallowing just for next turn. But instead, he's just going to hold it, keep the options open to see how Kaiwen responds, which kind of makes sense, seeing as though Mallow seems to be a slow supporter until you combine it with trade, and you can immediately access those cards.
So Kaiwen's going to take a look at his discard pile, see if there's anything he can do. He's going to play down the Jirachi. He does have Escape Rope in hand. He could go ahead and Escape Rope into that Jirachi, but no, he's just playing down Electro Power, and he will let loose with this Marshadow. There is a very outside chance this turn he could find Tapu Koko Prism Star, Tapu Koko GX, Choice Band, and knock out this Lycanroc GX, and that would be a pretty big swing in the game. It would actually give him a chance to win, I think. But, boy, you're asking for a lot, especially just off 4 cards from Let Loose.
Yeah, this Let Loose has to be huge. We've seen how detrimental it can be at times, but here we're needing a lot of help. That's a Tapu Koko GX and a Volkner.
That's almost good enough, but not quite.
Not quite there. Yeah, the Volkner could only get him the Bull Search. It couldn't get him the damage buff.
Yeah, one or the other. So that was almost very good.
The curse of the commentator almost coming down. But Kaiwen just having to Volkner here. Gets himself a Lightning Energy card, obviously, as well as a Nest Ball.
Yeah, and now we'll see if Kaiwen wants to simply use Tapu Koko GX and Sky High Claws for just 160 damage. It's a 2-hit knockout, and currently, it'll give him a third benched Pokemon, but it would force Stephane to find a Choice Band so he could Dangerous Rogue and knock out the Tapu Koko GX. And Kaiwen actually needed a bit more. He's already used his GX attack, so Tapu Thunder wasn't an option. So he actually would have needed
a lot more.
three of those Electro Power Choice Band in combination.
Yes.
So it was even more unreasonable.
Well, one not satisfied with doing nothing. He's just going to use the Dance of the Ancients and get those energies back, and will be going for the Sky High Claws attack by the looks of how he's playing out this turn.
Yep.
Really cool that he was going into that Wobbuffet, so he still could use that Dance of the Ancients. A very cute play from him, not using the Escape Rope before he let loose.
That's right, yeah. And Tapu Koko Prism Star setting up Tapu Koko GX. All these Tapu Koko cards working together for a Sky High Claws for 160 damage thanks to the Electro Power. But as you noted, Stephane did keep Mallow in his hand, but Kaiwen was able to disrupt him with Marshadow's Let Loose. And if Stephane can't find a way to add 20 damage to his Dangerous Rogue GX attack, this could turn back into an iffy situation for him.
Yeah, he's not too satisfied with taking a 2-hit KO, especially if he's not using an Acerola. He's going to look for either of those pieces with this trade here. He has 2 Zoroarks currently on the board. Let's see what he can draw into. Back into Mallow.
That'll do it.
Yep, especially when he's got one more trade. That's really ideal. He can get that extra damage modifier. Choice Band was already on top of his deck, but he can also grab himself Zoroark number 3 if he wishes, or maybe some other supporter cards.
Yeah, I think I would grab Choice Band for this turn, Guzma for next turn if it's in your deck. And I actually, okay, there's Guzma. That way you wrap up the 2-prize knockout this turn. I think he already has double colorless energy in hand, so he can set up the Guzma next turn for the win.
Looks like he went for just Zoroark number 3 instead.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably going to be good enough, too.
That's fine. It's not quite perfect in terms of setting yourself up for game, but you're digging even further through your deck, and he's still in a very commanding position.
Yep, and Kaiwen gives him the thumbs up. It's like, yep, that's pretty good. Choice band will get me here.
What a twist that he got the choice band off the guaranteed Mallow.
How lucky. I mean, he just drew into them with trade.
And we do see the Dangerous Rogue GX attack. Stephane just with 1 prize card remaining now. Kaiwen with a mountain to climb, just putting down the Zapdos and Lilying. But you can see what he thinks of the cards.
Yeah, well, he does find Switch. So he will be able to switch into Zapdos here and take the knockout with Thunderous Assault if he wishes to. Problem is, then it's just a double colorless and a benched Pokemon, and Stephane will win the game.
And when you see him trading away 1 double colorless energy, you know that the
don't have high hopes there.
Yeah, that's not going to be a high percentage for you.
That's still Kaiwen going to play this out. We do have 75 minutes to complete these top cut matches, so conceding early, not as important as it would be in a Swiss round where you only have 50 minutes to complete the match.
You may as well make them have it, as you say. The outside possibility is still there, so with the amount of time you have available, you may as well use all of it to see out the games and even get more information on your opponent's deck by playing out the entire turn. And that's game 1.
All right, Stephane Ivanoff takes game number 1 here in the top 4. He is 1 game away to making it to yet another finals at an international championship event. And, we saw Tord Reklev go on a big run in the last year or two. Seems like Stephane's almost filling in the void for him. Taking his powers as he defeated Tord in the finals of the North America International Championships. And now maybe he's the new Internationals destroyer.
Well, he seems to be the man of the hour, the one to beat at the moment, and no one seems to be able to do it. He's 1 game up here with, again, what looks to be a favorable matchup. Obviously, we didn't get to see Kaiwen's deck in full flow at any point in that game.
That was miserable. It's not, apparently it's not good to be playing Pikachu and Zekrom in the top 4.
No, apparently not. Letting loose is an issue.
You're just cursed before we even begin.
Yeah, that's a problem. Looking at Kaiwen, he does have the small Zapdos sort of package in his build with some Jirachis. He does have the Jolteon GX, so he does have a multitude of attackers. We may never see the Pikachu and Zekrom hit the field if he can help it, seeing as though it's so easy for Stephane Ivanoff to just capitalize and take 3 prizes on it all at once with the amount of fighting attackers he has. But unlike Jose's build, he does have other options to go down, even things like Zero Aura GX with just 1 Choice Band, 1 Electro Power that can take 1-hit KOs on some of the stage 1s out there, knocking out Tapu Leles. These are the things Kaiwen's going to need to do if he's going to bring back this game 2.
Yeah, it's just so brutal when your opponent plays a Lucario GX in a single fighting energy and then takes a 3-prize knockout. It's the hardest counter you can get to Pikachu and Zekrom GX. A single energy 1-hit KO for 3 prizes. It just makes you not want to put out Pikachu and Zekrom at all. You see Kaiwen going to put out his prize cards as usual, and he's like, oh yeah, we got this prize can thing over here. He did that in the first game as well.
Yeah. We're going to see Stephane first.
Seasoned veteran, knows exactly where his prizes go.
Couple double colorless energies. That could be a bit of a hiccup for him. So we see Thunder Mountain and equally, and a couple Electro Powers. Neither player too happy to see those prize cards.
Oh man, perfect start for Stephane. Even before he's playing any cards on his turn. Got the Rockruff, the Riolu, and a Zorua. Not a bad opening hand.
Doesn't play Elm, but you'd never know it when you've got a start like that. Viridian Forest kicks off Kaiwen's turn, and it looks like his hand is already much more playable. He has an Ultra Ball at the very least in his hand, and I believe there's a supporter there as well. So he's not just going to be flat out doing nothing this game. It looks like he's going to have a much better start as he, once again, does the usual prize checking. Always important when you have some key Prism Star cards in the deck, as well as some key energy switches and Jirachis, and all your counts are important to know when you're in these sorts of situations.
Yeah, it looks like he'll follow it up with an Ultra Ball as well. And he does have, I believe, a Lily. So it'll start off very well for him this time. And what?
He sees two fighting Pokemon.
He has no
says,
fear.
Yep. He's just going to go ahead and get Pikachu and Zekrom.
Oh, boy.
Well,
I
with two
guess
Fighting Energy in the discard, a big Lily, he's hoping to just race Stephane here. And, you know, maybe if he knocks out Azurua before it evolves and there aren't more Zoroarks hitting the field, maybe it's hard for Stephane to find all these combination pieces. I mean, it's only 2 pieces, Energy and Lucario GX, but, I mean, Kaiwen's just going all out for it here.
I mean, I guess if you think that this is a bad matchup, might as well just try to high roll as well as you can. Try to catch your opponent before they're able to set up. And really put the game down to one turn where you're like, all right, I used full blitz. There's 6 energy on my Pikachu and Zekrom. If you deal with it, congrats, you're going to the finals.
This is a really nice Lily for him. He's got himself the Dance of the Ancients available. He's got himself a Zeraora GX. He's nest-balled out a Jirachi, so all the energy can start going towards this Pikachu and Zekrom. It looks like he'll be able to get a full blitz on turn 2. It's just... you know, a questionable approach when there are so many fighting Pokemon lurking in Stephane's list.
Well, it's a bold move. We'll see if it pays off for him. He does have the switch into Jirachi as well, so really picture-perfect start. Can't ask for much more. The kind of start where, I mean, if you go second, you could even see a world where he's attacking on the first turn with Pikachu and Zekrom GX.
It's one of those starts where if you're just doing it goldfishing on your own, just seeing how does my deck function on turn 1, and you do it, it looks like this is the ideal. It's just that when you look across to Stephane's side of the board, it looks way less preferable. We are going to see the Dance of the Ancients, though. He's just going all in.
Oh, yeah. All right, so energy goes on to Pikachu and Zekrom GX, as well as the Zapdos. And this has to be a little bit unnerving for Stephane, knowing that there's a lot of pressure on you. If your start is a little bit slow and you aren't able to respond to that Pikachu and Zekrom GX immediately, could be in some trouble. But Stephane begins with Tapu Lele GX. Wonder Tag can find a supporter of his choosing. And I got to think he'll probably find something like a Lily and fill up his hand.
I think what's even more scary is that Kaiwen also just put the Viridian Forest into play. So the Fighting Energy is not even a card that he needs to dig for. It's just one Pokemon that he needs to find to respond to a Pikachu and Zekrom. And I believe Stephane's already holding on to some evolutions in his hands. So Wonder Tag just to find Lily, just to find some more basics. But it's almost like it doesn't matter anyway at the moment when it's so easily guaranteed already just what's on board from what Kaiwen's done here. So Stephane just going to go through the motions, look at what is prized, make sure he does have all these things available to him. He's looking at Zoroark, Pokemon Communication, and Mallow in his hand. So a Lily seems pretty good to hold on to. Just rather than using a Cynthia, you don't want to toss any of these cards away. They're all too valuable. And you could have, again, just an ideal turn 2 play. And he is going to go ahead and grab the Lily here.
And you're still going to draw 5 or 6 cards, probably.
Oh, wow. He's thinking about using the Pokemon Communication first here. It means that he wouldn't have guaranteed Lucario on turn 2 without the help of trade. So I'd be really tempted to just hold this and draw less from Lily, but Stephane wanting maybe potentially just more Zaruas on his board for some longer game protection. So
yeah,
I can toss this away.
I can see it both ways because if I'm Stephane, I'm probably assuming that next turn, if Kaiwen is going to attack with Pikachu and Zekrom, he's probably going to also let loose with Marshadow. Just to try to mess up Stephane's hand a little bit. So maybe getting more basic Pokemon out onto the field, getting an extra Zorua, could be the way to go. But he decides to actually discard the communication.
The third option.
To Viridian Forest, just so he can get a Fighting Energy onto the Rockruff.
That's also part of his 2-pronged attack, really. He's trying to get both Pokemon ready to power up. Now the Riolu just requires 1 energy. The Rockruff requires 1 energy. Stephane is able to find himself Ultra Ball, which is going to play straight away, discarding an Acerola and another Fighting Energy, it looks like. As long as the Iridian Forest stays in play, it's not going to be too punishing for him. He's also eyeing up a double Colors Energy, which he could also be pitching here. Interesting that he's trying to value the Absol as much as he does. I mean, Kaiwen does play Jirachi, so we might just be seeing the Absol hit the field, but is it more valuable than one of those energy cards because they're so crucial at responding to Kaiwen, especially if there was going to be a replacement stadium?
Yeah, so far, great start for Stephane. You know, Joe, I have the feeling that this game is not going to last very long, one way or another. Once you power up Pikachu and Zekrom GX, that is just kind of what it does.
Yeah.
It's saying, I'm either going to take a lot of prizes or you're going to knock this out and you're going to take a lot of prizes. Either way, this game is about to be half over.
Let's see. Kaiwen's turn now. Stephane's laid the trap with the Rockruff Energy and the Riolu sat there. It's down to Kaiwen to decide, is it time to go all in? Because it feels like it doesn't meet, you know, the full blitz is so close. It's going to happen more than likely this turn, unless he uses a bunch of energy switches to go towards, you know, Zapdos and maybe spread his energies around and just go for a single prize with Zapdos this turn. But it's so likely that Stephane can find Lycanroc and pull up the Pikachu anyway.
Right.
That,
what?
That'll tell you that he's going all in.
Okay.
He's going to be full blitzing to another Pikachu and Zekrom this turn. That's pretty certain at this point.
We're all in, folks. 6 prizes worth of Pokemon are now on the board in the form of 2 Pikachu and Zekrom GX. So we're going to see Escape Rope from Kaiwen here. Going to force Stephane to send out a Pokemon from his bench. And then
probably Absol for me, yeah. Yeah,
makes perfect sense. And, you know, Stephane only has 4 cards in hand. You might be looking at it and say, maybe I don't need to let loose. I'm giving him the exact same number of cards, but this is a hand that Stephane has already cultivated and prepared for the following turn. We've already seen it. Yeah. I know he has Zoroark GX and Mallow in his hand, so that is a guaranteed knockout on this Pikachu and Zekrom GX. Kaiwen might not know that. He might be tempted to not go for Marshadow here.
At the very least, we're going to see the Viridian Forest granting him that 3rd energy for the full blitz this turn to take the prize on the Absol. Let's see how many other energies are in his deck. I think there's actually a couple prizes, so he may be running low on energy that he could full blitz onto his field here. We're going to see a Volkner as well.
All right.
Could be grabbing Ball Search just to find that Marshadow that we've mentioned already.
That would be my guess. There's the Ultra Ball. Ultra Ball and Lightning Energy. So this is it. This is Kaiwen's game plan. Gonna attack with this Pikachu and Zekrom GX and let loose and force Stephane to have an answer. You know, with 4 random cards, there is a good shot he doesn't find the Lucario GX. As you pointed out earlier, the Viridian Forest is out there, so finding the Fighting Energy for Lucario is trivial. Oh boy, this is basically what the game comes down to.
Kaiwen would also just want to find the Thunder Mountain just to deny the Viridian Forest at this point.
Right.
I think he would just put it down into play if he gets it off this let loose, to be honest, because you're going all in, trying to randomize Stephane's hand and just make him have the most, you know, answers possible. But at the moment, it's just 1 card is all he needs.
Stephane doesn't even look at his cards.
Icy cool veins.
And there we see full blitz, 150 damage to knock out this Absol.
Energies.
And wow, yeah,
he let loose into 1. And, yeah,
just getting the 2 energy onto the bench to Pikachu and Zekrom GX. Does take the first prize card, but oh my goodness, the 3 prize liability is just sitting there. If Stephane can find Lycanroc GX or Lucario GX this turn, he's going to get a knockout.
I believe there's Ultra Ball.
That's looking good.
We're looking okay here.
Oh boy.
He's going into the Rockruff. He gets Pokemon Communication. Ultra Ball's already there anyway.
Now you can trade away the Ultra Ball. Well, I guess you don't want to do that if you don't draw a Pokemon.
I guess you got to trade the Calm.
Yeah, I guess you could trade the Fighting Energy away. You could always Viridian Forest for.
We'll trade it all.
Another one.
He's got the options now. Just confirming what's going on here. Stephane has the trade available. He has the Pokémon that could simply be the Lycanroc GX coming onto the field and knocking out this tag team GX Pokemon. It's just how he wants to further navigate this hand. How deep does he want to go with it? He definitely wants to try and get more trades on the board, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, you could just straight up communication, throw the Zoroark in and get your Lycanroc GX, but I think it's much safer to trade here.
For certain. You really see him debating what is his least valuable card here. They're all pretty good. He's already got rid of, I believe, 1 fighting energy.
Oh, yeah, that's a consideration then. You only run probably 4-ish, 4 fighting energy.
Here comes the Pokémon in the discard with the trade.
I mean, he straight up draws into Lucario GX, but he's promoted the Rockruff, so he's kind of committing to that line of play.
Committed to the Ultra Ball.
Yeah, he's going to discard probably Ditto Prism Star, and looks like fighting energy.
The fighting, I believe. But I mean, regardless, he's in great shape.
Oh yeah.
The trade didn't give him some freebies to discard, but this is still absolutely fine.
Yeah, and Kaiwen's got to be not happy about how this turned out. He went all in on the let loose. His gambit will not pay off, as Stephane is able to find this Lycanroc GX. Now, the Claw Slash still isn't enough for a knockout, even with the weakness, but he can use that dangerous Rogue GX attack and take a 3-prize knockout,
500
winning
damage.
Half the game. Oh, my goodness. 500 damage. That is enough to knock out a tag
pretty
team.
Dangerous.
Yeah, even without weakness, it would have been enough.
Yeah. Here we go.
GX marker has been flipped. Stephane takes half of his prize cards in a single attack. And Kaiwen already has the second Pikachu and Zekrom on the bench. And we know Stephane also has the Lucario GX in his hand. So even if Kaiwen is able to deal with the Lycanroc GX, he's got the game in hand.
We see Kaiwen use his own Stellar Wish here to grab a Guzma.
Yeah, the only way that Stephane could be in trouble here is if his 4th fighting energy is prized. 2 are in the discard, 1 is attached to the Lycanroc GX. So if he's out of fighting energy, he wouldn't have a chance to use Lucario GX.
And there's not enough energy for Kaiwen to even go for a Tag Bolt GX attack to deal with Lycanroc and Riolu. That would be his other route, but there's just not enough energy for him to go for that play. So gonna have to use Choice Band, Electro Power, and Full Blitz. No more energies to take.
For no energy, yeah.
He just waved it off. There aren't any I can see, just from our prizes.
All right, here comes Riolu. If there is an energy in Stephane's deck, we're going to see another 3-prize knockout.
We know it's
and
there.
Our player from France will advance to the finals of the Oceania International Championships. There we go. Aura Strike finishing this off. 2 attacks, 6 prize cards, and you see the absolute downside of those tag team GXs and the brilliant metagaming of Stephane Ivanoff as he makes it to the finals of his 2nd International Championships.
Huge congratulations to him. His deck has carried him through so many Pikachu and Zekrom tag team matchups, and it may seem sometimes overkill. You feel